favorite fiction. It's time for the Rundown with Clint Watson here on ZNS, where only the sun covers the Bahamas better. Guess who's alone in New York this Christmas?
Don't you know a kid always wins against two idiots?
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Another Christmas in the trenches.
Guess who's alone in New York this Christmas?
Don't you know a kid always wins against two idiots?
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Another Christmas in the trenches.
Keep the bad king walking.
Let's go. We are going to ensure and make sure that this is your last time here.
You're the
Grinch. Jim Carrey is the Grinch.
Hey, what's up, Mario?
Hey, Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs. Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
Shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do, ZNS Digital is home to the Sunshine Room.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
Happy holidays from the management and staff at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us for another night. Well, reliable electricity at an affordable price seems like a dream of every consumer, right? Especially these days. But why should it be? Isn't this a basic requirement in a developing country? It's an issue that consecutive governments have struggled with here in the Bahamas. In fact, we've experienced continuous load shedding, power outages, and increased bills, making the local power company a target of anger by many consumers. Well, if at first you don't succeed, then you know it, try again. The Davis administration believes they have the formula to reform Bahamas Power and Light and making these aging concerns a thing of the past. It took changing leadership at the top recently to implement what the government believes will be a more efficient power company. And tonight, when we come back, we talk with 101, the new CEO of BPL. Does she have the magic wand to make it all go away and make it truly, indeed, as they say, a new day? We'll talk to her about the plans, how they plan on achieving it, and is it really doable? You're watching The Rundown, our 101 discussion right after the break.
It's a different kind of Christmas, but everything is here to bring a smile upon your face. That's what the season brings now. See, Christmas time is the time for your family and friends. Come and shop with us and find everything that you need. Deck out your homes with all we have in store, bringing joy and so much more. And shop, Smarty, and shop, Smart, and shop, Smart. Oh, everything is here at Shop Smart. And shop, Smart, and shop, Smart. Oh, everything is here.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Welcome back. She is tasked with reformation, transformation, and quite simply delivering a product that works. The new CEO of Bahamas Power and Light joins me tonight, Tony Seymour, for a candid discussion. Welcome to the Rundown. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And congratulations on your appointment. I know if it's anything like what I had to experience with baptism by fire. Well, welcome. So let's get right into it, because obviously people want to know, what does the future hold for the Bahamas Power and Light? It's going into Christmas season. People are wondering, am I going to have electricity? It's going to be reliable. Usually Christmas, it normally is, because, you know, it's cooler, especially now we're experiencing the cooler temperatures, so you're using so much power and energy. But it's been, I mean, you hear it when every administration comes to power. Blackouts and load shedding are a thing of the past. It's not going to happen. Where are we with this issue, first of all, for people?
So first, let me start by saying we have made some significant strides in improving the reliability throughout New Providence and the Family Islands. So October to May is our peak maintenance period. So that is when the load starts to drop off in the cooler months, as you mentioned. So that is when we conduct all of our planned maintenance on our generation assets. At the beginning of May is when we expect our base load generation to be fully maintained and ready for the summer months, the heat and the peak months. In addition to that, we've done quite a number of upgrades on our transmission and distribution system. So we have some smart relays at some of our primary substations. So what that does is it allows us to identify and correct faults remotely. So previously, someone in a truck would have to drive to a particular substation, identify the fault, correct it, and then restore. Now that still happens in some cases because not all of our substations and our lines are remotely controlled as of this time. But some of them are, and that does alleviate a lot of the longer outage times that you would have experienced in the past.
Sorry, go ahead.
As it relates to load shedding, I know every time the power goes off, Bahamians automatically say, we are load shedding. Load shedding is a shortfall in generation. So that means we don't have enough generators available to meet the demand on any given island. Now, that does happen from time to time, but usually it's a situation of maybe an isolated incident. So there are things beyond our control, for example, lightning strikes, traffic accidents, things like snakes in the transmission lines. I saw a video of a cat up on an HV line, and we had to shut off the power. We sent the bucket truck, and as soon as the bucket got up to the line where the cat was, the cat jumped down, and it was fine. But no one wanted the cat to get electrocuted. So things of that nature can cause disruptions, but we try and keep those to a minimum.
Obviously, the big concern is the financial situation of PPL, right? Because we're hearing now these minimal plan increases, or it's because you know, government has to contribute $100 million to BPL and it has to recover and all of this stuff. What is the financial situation right now at BPL, and how is it impacting operational efficiency?
So most of the Family Islands are not profitable, and BPL does not expect to make a profit on these islands. We provide a service.
It's a service.
Because, you know, you want to maintain the same standard of living across the archipelago. So New Providence and the 1 or 2 profitable islands have to subsidize the rest of the islands. And that's just, it is what it is. There's nothing that we can do about that at this time. What the government has done, though, it has launched a renewable initiative, the energy reform that the Minister of Energy announced last year. So RFPs were issued for solar installations, well, I shouldn't say solar, renewable installations on all of the Family Islands. So what these power purchase agreements would allow us to do is save on our operating expenses. So all of the money that we would have had to invest in, say, new generation infrastructure or fuel, etc., it will be one set rate that we would pay an independent power producer for cleaner and more reliable generation.
How soon we can see that come into operation?
So I know that the contracts were already issued to the successful bidders for most of the Family Island projects, and typically a build-out is anywhere from 18 to 24 months.
So you're looking really at seeing some kind of relief in about 2 years from now?
Yeah, and sooner in some cases. For the ones that, you know, are already in the early design phases, those ones should probably roll out a bit sooner.
Is BPL doable for the Bahamas and our landscape, the way our archipelago of islands are? Is this doable?
It has to be doable.
I knew you'd say that. I knew you'd say it has to be doable. Yeah.
What other choice do we have?
Right.
It's unique in that most other electrical utilities are on one landmass, and we are spread out over, 17 islands that BPL...
It's like duplicating what you have in the capital everywhere else.
Exactly. So you have power stations, you have transmission and distribution networks. It's a duplication of equipment and staff. So this, the staffing complement is lesser on the islands, but you still have the same, you still need the same level of expertise, technicians, linemen, cashiers, etc. So the operating expense is higher because it's spread out, it's not all in one place.
When we look at the plans for infrastructure modernization, what is in place to make it more modernized, to include renewable energy integration, and to make it operational in the 21st century, that it's able to be maintained?
That's where the independent power producers come into play.
So that's going to play a significant part of this.
Yes, because BPL as a company could not come up with the capital that would be required to roll out this level of renewable energy integration across the entire country. And so what the IPPs do is invest, and then we sign a build, operate, own, and transfer agreement with them over a period of time where we pay them a rate per kilowatt hour based on what they produce and what they provide to the grid. So what that does is that frees up some operating expenses for us, and we don't have to come up with the initial capital expenditure, which we would not have been able to do as a company.
Now, for people who get in wondering what is that going to mean, is that going to mean you're selling BPL to other people for their operating the Family Islands?
No.
Okay.
No. So let me be clear. IPPs operate around the world. They are independent power producers. They produce BPL. They sell the power to us. We still maintain our existing generation facilities. We still maintain all of our customers, all of our accounts. So nobody is selling power directly to the customers. BPL still exists. We are still the main, the sole power producer.
People still pay their bills to BPL.
Exactly.
You still send them their bills regularly.
So what it would do, though, is it would stabilize the cost of electricity. And where on islands, for example, where we know that we could never make a profit, it would reduce the BPL's operating expenses in those islands.
If you talk about renewable energy, is the form of renewable energy that you're most likely going with solar?
So it'll be solar, it'll be some battery storage, and it'll be some zero carbon emission type engines. So we're looking at branching into LNG. The government of Bahamas just passed the LNG Act earlier this year. And so LNG will be like a transition fuel as we move away from the diesel and the heavy fuel oil that, has greater carbon emissions.
So let's talk about that. You say move away from it, because that has been what many people deem to be one of the biggest expenses of BPL is
the cost of fuel.
The cost of fuel.
Of course.
And then we always say, okay, well, how do we break it down? And people charge. Well, these people are connected to these people in power, so they can always have the contract for fuel and oil for BPL. Are we going to really, truly move away from that, which is a heavy cost?
So fuel is a heavy cost. What renewable energy does is it reduces your reliance on the amount of fuel that you need to use. So there should be a fuel reduction once the solar and batteries come into play. To say that we will move completely away from diesel and heavy fuel oil would be a bit premature until we know exactly how we can transport LNG throughout all of the islands. For New Providence, I would say yes, there's probably a higher chance that we can move away from diesel and heavy fuel oil after a period of time, once all of the engines are functional on LNG. Now, some of our older engines, there's no chance of converting them, but we do have some turbines that can be converted to burn LNG, and then the challenge would be transporting it to the various islands. So to say we'll move away from it completely, our hope is that the solar farms, the battery storage, and possibly transporting some LNG in bullets or ISO tankers to the Family Islands could alleviate some of it. But I can't see it being 100% done away with.
What about New Providence? Are we looking for New Providence generation to move more to renewable sources as well for New Providence, or are we sticking with the same engine A and engine B and engine C, which we know have that heavy fuel bill?
So RFPs were issued for New Providence as well.
Right.
So the plan is for 100 megawatts of renewable energy, as well as battery energy storage system, as well as transitioning some of the units to liquefied natural gas for New Providence. So there's a plan in place, but you know, New Providence is land space challenged. So we have a limited amount of space where we can put solar panels, for example. But BPL does currently have a 25 megawatt hour battery energy storage system at our Blue Hills Power Station. And that does help in terms of if there's a generation shortfall, it can inject energy into the grid to give us time to restore, which also improves our reliability.
So there is some, obviously, help that's on the way for people.
Definitely.
And of course, obviously the people want to know, when will I see some relief in my power bill? Because, you know, the predictions was that it's going to go up with some more, and then some more, and then we'll be in to see some relief. What is now the formula and the plan for this?
So, as I mentioned, once we are able to reduce the amount of energy that we produce based by fossil fuels, then the fuel charge will go down. That is, like I said, 18 to 24 months out. In the short term, what the governor of the Bahamas has done is rolled out the equity rate adjustment. So for all consumers, as you know, BPL's bills are tiered.
Right.
So the 0 to 200 kilowatt hour tier was previously 10.95 cents per kilowatt hour. So you would have paid just over $200 for that 0 to 200 kilowatt hour tier. So that has now gone to zero as of the 1st of July. So that has already been rolled out, and every Bahamian, if you compare your bill from June to July, you will see that the 0 to 200 kilowatt hour tier is now zero, and you just pay the fuel for that amount. So
you should automatically see a reduction.
Well, it happened in the hottest month, and so your consumption likely went up. So you may not have necessarily seen a reduction on the bottom line, but if you do a side-by-side comparison of like the previous month's bill, then you would notice that there should have been a difference.
And they still ain't gonna see it in Christmas because they're gonna turn on all these Christmas lights, and it can be extra usage. Even though it's cool, you can be decorating and paying for decorating.
So, you know, one of the things that I like to discuss is energy efficiency measures. So one of the things that you can do is get solar Christmas lights. By all means, we do want the revenue. So, you know, if you want to use
if you want to spend plenty of money on lights, then suit yourself.
Please do. But there are solar Christmas lights. Even the lights in your home, switch them out to LED lights.
It makes a difference.
It really does.
It makes a difference.
Your central air units, you know, you have to make sure that they're serviced, that they're cleaned. If you have split units, you need to make sure that they're properly sized for the space that they're cooling. The higher SARE units cost more initially, but they consume less energy. And so I know, you know, you want the deal. So everyone wants to go for the deal. But in the end, you end up paying more because you consume more energy. Things like your stove, your dryer, your water heater, your oven, anything that draws heat consumes a lot of energy.
Well, the cooking y'all doing this Christmas can cost y'all. Let's take a break right here. We'll come right back with our CEO from PPL, Tony Seymour, and more about the future of PPL. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this.
From sinking last year to rising to the top this year, congratulations to Bach 2, the 2024 Best of the Best champ.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Who this fella is, man? Boy, I don't even think this boat registered. My Lord.
Bingston. Bingston.
Ernestine.
Bingston.
Kingston, you daydreaming again?
Guess who I just been best of the best?
In what?
In this same boat, Buckto. I gotta go back to Madrid because I just got my award and this pretty young girl is supposed to give you some champagne.
Kingston, you gotta catch yourself.
Man, understand more to where I gotta get ready for the best of the best regatta. I'm coming to the Montague Four Shores from December 5th to December 8th. The top sailors from around the... Man, understand you want to see me talking?
I'm talking.
With the best delicious local dishes and live performances. And guess what? I can be there shaking a leg.
Shaking what leg?
Understand how shop?
Chapter One Bookstore at University of the Bahamas believes in the power of words. They have your next great adventure or that affordable textbook you need. You can go anywhere with a good book. To the library, to have coffee in a cafe, to the pool, to a cozy chair at home. And when you finish your book, you can browse for more good books from Chapter One. Chapter One Bookstore, open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., or shop online all day, every day at chapteronebooks.store.
That's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Welcome back to The Rundown. My guest tonight is BPL CEO Tony Seymour. And a special good evening to all of you joining us on social media, our various platforms, if you're on YouTube, and of course those of you in the Lion's Den on Facebook. It's good to have you all joining us tonight. Talking about BPL, what you can expect for the future, how things are looking. Let's talk about the relationships. And I know whenever you take the helm over any government corporation or government company, private company, there are always challenges you face. And of course, one of the biggest critical mass is, of course, employees. How has the relationship been with the union? You have two unions at BPL, similar to how we have here at the Broadcasting Corporation. How has that been since you've been settling in office?
So I think one of the things that we've been able to do extremely well is open the lines of communication. So I have regular meetings with both unions. And I think the relationship is pretty stable. We haven't had any major issues. They come to me regularly with their concerns, and we try to address them in a timely manner. So, yeah.
You're now the helm. And of course, people say, boy, sometimes some of these companies, boy, it's like pop somebody's fire. But what do you think is the key thing that you must get right in order to see the level of success that people envision for BPL?
So my primary objective is twofold. One is the staff, the employees are your number one asset. Mm-hmm. Training, providing them the necessary tools and equipment that they need to be able to do their job well so that they can serve the Bahamian public. And our objective is to keep the lights on all the time at a reasonable cost, and to do it safely and as efficiently as we possibly can. So those are the two branches right now that I'm focused on.
How big is it of concern? I mean, we understand you're a company that's responsible for obviously generating power and make it profitable. But you now see MPs offering incentive programs to help get their constituents reconnected for the holidays and so forth, programs going on. Do we have that many people that are disconnected? And what is the primary reason why people are disconnected? Is it because they can't pay, or is it because they're they owe so much on it? What are the challenges you're seeing from the average consumer?
So the average consumer, I think, in the summer months when the bills are high, have a difficulty paying their bills in full. So some people, they put what they can on it, and then the arrears just continue to build. So one of the initiatives that BPL and the Ministry of Energy rolled out was the Merry and Bright campaign to allow disconnected consumers to pay 10% down on their light bill and sign up for a payment plan and get reconnected. So typically BPL requires 50% of your arrears or up to 75% of your arrears, and then the balance paid over 6 months. So we had some leeway to kind of maneuver and speak to people one-on-one and assess what they are able to pay. And we've offered payment plans where you pay 10% down and then you pay the balance over 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, depending on what you're able to do.
What is the average amount owing by people who are disconnected?
Oh, it varies. Yeah, it varies from in the low thousands to in the tens of thousands.
So consumers owe thousands of dollars in power bills?
Well, some people do, yes.
Wow, that's high. And so 10%, so if you owe, let's say $2,000, you owe on your electricity bill, put down 10%, which would be $200, and then you're able to get your light reconnected. And you just pay, is there a set amount you pay every month?
There's a set based on what the time frame is for the payment plan. You'd pay that set amount per month, but you have to keep your current...
So you're paying that amount plus your current bill?
Yes.
Do you find that people are able to take a plan on like that? Because if you're thinking if you were off because you weren't paying your bill, and you have to pay your current bill plus pay part of your past bill, are they able to generate that kind of funds to keep that program consistent?
So if you think about it, if for example, in the summer, if your bill was, say, $500 a month, and you were only able to pay $300 a month, and that accumulated over a period of time, now in the winter months, your bill may be $150.
So you have the room, the breathing room.
You have that breathing room. Yes.
If you privatize and decide to pay the electricity bill versus going to Walmart?
Well, you know, it's a personal choice.
I can't buy the Christmas gift because I want to keep my bill current. You know, the dedicated will do that. We talked about, is there a strategy being in place to reduce dependency on imported fuel and its impact of electricity prices? We talked about that. I want to go a little more into that because we know the introduction of Pike, right? Talk about what their role is, because there's been a lot of discussion around whether or not PPL has been sold to these people, contracted to these people. What is their role, and how does that play into the future of what you're trying to do?
Okay, so Pike, Island Grid, Bahamas Grid Company is on the transmission and distribution side, so not unrelated to the fuel. But Bahamas Grid Company is a company that was formed. Its partners are Island Grid and BPL, so it's a joint venture between Island Grid and BPL to manage the transmission and distribution network in New Providence.
New Providence?
Just New Providence, yes. So it's overhead, underground, and substations, and there has been some discussions and negotiations around how staff would possibly be seconded to this area for a period of time and work along with Bahamas Grid Company. So they intend to invest a significant capital injection to upgrade the transmission and distribution network and the substations with some of the same new technology that I mentioned previously, the remote technology. And they also do live line work, so it's an opportunity for our linemen to get upskilled and learn to work in that type of environment, but completely unrelated to the fuel question.
Right. And so what is the end game with this kind of partnership, so that we understand where we're headed with this?
So again, with the renewable RFPs, the transmission and distribution network in New Providence requires a significant capital investment in order to complete all of the upgrades that are necessary that BPL just does not have at this time.
So it is allowing the company to be able to upgrade, try and keep pace with the rapid changing of the industry without having to find the money to do it, because you have a partner who will inject the money.
Exactly, yes.
At the end of the day, is there any ownership in the power company by these sub-companies?
So I think the operating agreement and the all of that is still in the negotiation phases. All of those details have not been signed off on as yet. So I can't speak to that right now.
Is there an opportunity for Bahamian entrepreneurs to get involved in the power distribution or generation industry to be able to buffer and support what BPL does?
So we do have a small-scale renewable generation program and a medium-scale renewable generation program where if you install solar panels on your home, for example, any energy that you don't consume, you can sell back to BPL and receive credits at the end of the month on your bill. So what that requires is you would get Ministry of Works approval, ERCA approval, BPL approval. We'll come in and change out your meter. And for people who do have this set up, sometimes they end up with a credit at the end of the month.
And what they can do with that credit, that goes towards whatever costs they may have the next month.
The following light bill, yes.
I'm going to give you about 3 minutes left, and I'm going to give you the final opportunity to say to the Bahamian people, really, how do you feel about where we're headed and where we are now? Are you turning the corner when it comes to BPL, or is it still a bit of a challenge that needs to find solutions for it? Or are you optimistic of us being able to turn the corner as Bahamians and see a difference?
I'm optimistic as to where we're headed. I think we're almost getting ready to turn the corner. I think once we can see the renewable energy projects, you know, off the ground and connected to the system and producing, you know, our reliability has improved and our cost of electricity has been reduced, then I would say, you know, we are where we want it to be.
So the end game is to make electricity more affordable and more reliable.
And sustainable, yes.
And sustainable,
and
very
environmentally friendly.
Well, there's a 4 points right there that I think we'll all be happy if we can achieve those 4 points.
Yes.
And Tony Seymour, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Likewise.
And of course, we look forward to seeing the transformation take place. And I'm sure all of us will be the benefactors of it at the end of the day. Hats off to you. All the best. Realize it's not easy.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And again, of course, remember there are some tips that you can do to ensure this Christmas that you save. I'm going to let her give you those tips, right? So that you can say no one told you. Here's how you save electricity. Aside from stop cooking, aside from burning electricity and air conditioning, all the family come over and everybody say hot, because everybody in the house go inside. But aside from that, here's some other tips.
Solar Christmas lights. Change out your light bulbs to LED lights.
And pause right there. Let me tell you, I can put a shameless plug in because they are our sponsors as well here at the Broadcasting Corporation. Shop Smart has some very good Christmas trees that are energy efficient. I bought one myself. Yes, I paid for it. It's a beautiful Christmas tree, and it has those LED lights on it. They're beautiful, and they don't burn nearly half as much as what regular lights burn. So yeah, that's a shameless plug. Okay, continue.
Ensure that your ACs are properly sized for the space that they cool. If you do get a split unit, get the higher SEER split unit, as they consume less energy than the lower SEER ones. Ensure that your windows and doors properly seal. Put your water heater on a timer. As simple as pulling out plugs, sockets from the wall, even if nothing's plugged, even if the TV isn't on, as long as it's plugged in, it's still drawing some energy.
So if you're not watching TV, you have to take it out of the socket?
I know it's inconvenient, but you know, there are smart surge protectors now that connect to your Wi-Fi where you can just cut off, on and off, yeah, from an app on your phone. Oh. My son taught me about that, you would think.
I'm gonna go find that out.
Yes, even if you have your ACs on a timer, ensure that your windows and doors properly sealed, ensure that your home is insulated. These are things that in a hot, humid environment can reduce your energy costs significantly.
All right, some great tips there from Holiday. You got them right here on the Rundown. Stay with us. We've got another topic to discuss after the break. And of course, we're talking to the Red Cross. Listen, you want to win some prizes for Christmas? If you don't want to buy no gift, go ahead and take your chances, win some prizes. And you also help a worthy cause. We'll tell you about it right after the break. Stay with us. You're watching the Rundown.
A decade ago, the Bahamas Striping Group of companies was birthed out of a passion to change the way we travel. From only a $5,000 grant, the tenacity and work ethic has propelled BSGC to one of the leading road management companies in the Caribbean. we pride ourselves on going the extra mile where others won't, through the use of our state-of-the-art equipment and our certified team. Although the success is commendable, the road has been long. Yet, the mission continues in striving to be a world-class organization ran by Bahamians for Bahamians. With the help of our experienced and hardworking team, we at the Bahamas Striping Group of Companies are committed to making a difference, one road at a time.
That's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down. Oh yeah.
Clint Watson has been the trusted voice of journalism for over 2 decades. He is your first choice for hard-hitting discussions, your best choice for current affairs issues and investigative journalism. It's time to start the journey of relentless journalism. It's time to start the journey of facts over fiction. It's time for the Rundown with Clint Watson here on ZNS, where only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
We're talking about the International Monetary Fund and the IMF's engagement with small developing countries like the Bahamas.
For every country, it's their health is their own, right? What we do is, again, it's like a GP who can give some suggestions on the health.
You're the Grinch.
Jim Carrey is the Grinch.
Welcome back to the Rundown. It's good to have all of you with us. It's considered one of the biggest fundraisers for the Red Cross every year. The annual raffle takes place on Saturday, and while you have the chance to win some amazing prizes, it's also a chance to give back to one of the premier organizations that prides itself on being there for you during crisis or in time of need. Joining me tonight to talk about it is, of course, the president and head of the board of the Bahamas Red Cross, Edison Sumner, and Director General Alicia Pinder. Both of you, welcome to the Rundown. Good to have you here.
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you.
So before we even talk about the weekend events, let's talk about the Red Cross, right? And its significance and importance to society. Because people tend to really focus a need on the Red Cross when there's a hurricane or some major disaster, and we see the Red Cross and its action, and then we say, okay, the Red Cross is in full effect. But people don't understand, in order to be ready like that, and in order to be prepared to respond, there has to be a lot of work that goes into place. Let's talk about the presence of the Red Cross in the Bahamas, first of all.
Thank you very much. So I think that's a very important question to start with, because I think that a lot of people in the country do not understand the work of the Red Cross fully, right? As you said, they see us responding to hurricanes and the rest of it. But the Red Cross really has had a presence in the Bahamas since the late 1930s, when it was operating under the British Red Cross. And in 1975 or 6, the Red Cross became the Bahamas Red Cross through an act of parliament. So we actually operate under legislation.
Wow, that's important to state.
We're not just another organization. Even more so, we're not just an NGO. In fact, we're not an NGO. We're really an auxiliary to the government.
Wow.
So the Red Cross is essentially an extension of the government in the work of humanitarian efforts, social welfare programs, international human laws, human rights, etc. So the work that we do expands way beyond just responding to hurricane or handing out food parcels every day. I had the privilege, the Director General and I, of attending the International Conference of Red Cross several weeks ago in Geneva. And I sent a post out to my board members and said, listen, we are actually in this place making decisions that will impact the world for years to come.
Wow.
Right? And this is Red Cross coming together in Geneva to talk about work of the Red Cross internationally. So a lot of things that people around the world are enjoying, certain privileges that they're enjoying, certain immunities they enjoy, certain rights when it comes to human rights, humanitarian law. These were things that were initiated by the Red Cross in consultation with governments around the world. So what we do is, it's important for us to let people know that when you see this organization, when you see this emblem should be treated with the utmost of respect because of the work that we do to support humanitarian efforts across the country, across the world. And when we see people walking around in this vest with this emblem on and they're coming in the name of the Red Cross, they're really doing a serious humanitarian work, and most of them are doing it as volunteers, right? These are non-paid people. I'm a volunteer of the Red Cross, even though I'm the president, right? I'm not a paid employee of the Red Cross. But the work that is required for me as president, our board members, volunteers, is a tremendous amount of work that's required. We put the efforts in, and we do it because we love the work we do, right? We love the fact that we're able to support people, the most vulnerable people in our communities, to get through the toughest of times that they face in our country, whether it's hurricanes, whether it's people who are hungry, needing to be fed, whether it's training in first aid training and the rest of it. So our work is expansive, right? And the 20 minutes we have is not enough time to talk about the intensity of the work that we do.
I want to bring in the Director General to talk about, people look at this year perhaps, we didn't have any serious hurricanes, but your work continued. Talk about some of the things that you do outside of being able to assist people during hurricanes.
Well, thankfully, we did not have a hurricane. November 30th officially ended the Atlantic hurricane season, even though we've seen one or two hurricanes or storms that threaten afterwards. The intensity is not usually as great, and so we are very, very grateful for that. But outside of the hurricane season, we support the Bahamian public every single day. And the way that we do that is we receive the most vulnerable at our doorsteps every day.
So people still come for assistance?
Yes, absolutely. People come for assistance. When you see a lot of rain times, people come because their roofs are leaking. They need tarps. Urban renewal, they're on the grounds in the various communities, and they're quite aware of the people in their communities that need assistance. They would come to us seeking tarps, or maybe food parcels for the elderly. They may be on pension, but the pension runs out before the actual month runs out. And so in that regard, we support them. We also are very open, and people come to us when they may be having incidents where they are temporarily displaced and need assistance. Well, we want to do more help in that area, but funding does not allow. However, we do referrals, and we look around to see if there are ways that we can assist people. The work that we do on a daily basis, whether we are in overdraft or not, is we feed close to 200 people, or maybe between all of the other islands, over 200 people with meals every day. Our Meals on Wheels program is definitely still active, and that's one of our greatest priorities, because some people, they won't even eat for the day unless we are there to help them. And of course, for the weekend, we try to give them like foods that they can readily prepare, cold cuts, as well as bread that Purity Bakery generously donate to us on a regular basis. And so we are quite aware of the needs of the people in our community, and it also gives us a kind of a pulse on the economics of the country. When we see people who generally may have been employed and living in an apartment and driving a car, and then life happens.
My term, life happens.
Life happens, and sometimes they are people highly educated, just not able to find a job, just not able to make those payments, and we find that they are at our doorstep. And so that's one of the reasons why we're going hard at it with all of our fundraisers here. And we have quite a few on the works, but the work is great. The thing that we do is so important. The way that we support the community is so vast that we have to unashamedly go at it as hard as we do.
You know, as Director General was talking, I couldn't help but think, as she talked about the things that you do every day. And I kept saying, these are the things you don't hear in the stories. These don't make the news, right? Because it's not a national disaster or crisis or event. So you don't hear that we have to provide food and meals for people every day. Somebody lost their job, they were doing well, all of a sudden they can't live anymore. We gotta provide shelter. That don't make the headlines. So you think, okay, the Red Cross is probably just sitting there with their shelves stocked, waiting on a big national disaster, and then hoping for volunteers come out to help distribute food. And that can be further from the truth.
Couldn't be further from the truth. Number one, the shelves are only stocked for a short period of time because there's such a sharp turnaround of resources. We've got to turn meals around every day. The DG talked about serving 200 plus people a day. When we looked at the numbers, I think in the last year, I'm told that we served over 50,000 meals in a year. Wow. 50,000 meals, right? That's a lot of meals to be serving on an annual basis. And then they think, for some strange reason, that the Red Cross is a wealthy organization. We're not. And if the Red Cross were wealthy and had a lot of money sitting in the bank, we would not be fulfilling our mandate. It doesn't make sense to have a lot of money in the bank when the money is needed to serve people in the community.
Money out.
As quickly as it comes in. And we've been doing, to talk about that, we've been doing a much better job at managing our resources, right? Being accountable for the resources that we do have, because it is important for me, certainly in this term as president, to give assurances and guarantees to people who donate to the Red Cross, who contribute, to let them know that your money that you've been donating is being put to good use. It's being managed properly, it's being resourced properly. We are taking full accountability for how we manage our resources, and our records are now becoming very clear for all to see. But like you said, these are not the kinds of things that hit the headline. And a lot of people don't pay attention to the Red Cross until it comes on their doorstep. Right? We talked about the fact that, and you'd be surprised, Clint, that there are people in this country, on this island, who once held prominent positions in society, who once were earning big dollars, who now finding themselves knocking at the Red Cross and saying, I need help. I need a place to sleep. My family doesn't have the place to spend the weekend because we got evicted because we couldn't afford to pay our bills. Families are sleeping in cars and coming to the Red Cross.
That's a reality.
It's a reality.
It's a reality.
Just last week, we had a family of 5. We were approached who were looking and needed support because they needed a place to sleep. And this happens often, right? It doesn't only happen with people who are displaced because of hurricanes. People are displaced, like I said, life happens, right? And when this happens, we are the organization. There are others around the country who do what they do. But I think I can venture out to say, right, as the president of this organization, that there is no other organization in this country who does the volume of work that the Red Cross does without getting the kind of resources that are needed. We've got to be there pounding the pavement every day, right, to get the resources that are needed to support the most vulnerable people in our society. Now, we were thankful that this year I made an appeal of the government. The Prime Minister came, we made an appeal to the Prime Minister, and we said to him and the government that, listen, what we've been getting as a subvention from the government is inadequate. It's not working. We gave him the figures that we were getting. He looked at it and he thought, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. So we made a request for a substantial increase in our subvention from the government. We got a half of what we requested, which was a lot more than we had been getting in the past. But as soon as that money came in, that was ready earmarked to go out to support our programs, right? So when we have these events to raise money, it is not just that we are out there every other month or several times a year doing fundraisers. If we can do what we do without going to the public for money, we would do it. We would certainly do it, right? There are people like myself and others who would just give of our own substance to the Red Cross, and we do it without looking for any returns. That's just the way it works. But if we could do this without going to the public and say, come and buy a raffle ticket, buy a steak ticket, buy a seat to the ball, we would do that. But we are not that kind of an organization. We need the support of society because, believe it or not, many people that we help in this community are your family. They're your cousins. They're your siblings who you haven't seen in months, don't know where they are. If you come to the Red Cross, we can tell you, oh, that guy was just here last week looking for help for his... And we're going to ask you, where's your family? My family isn't there to help me.
Exactly.
But the Red Cross is always there.
Wow. We're going to take a break. When we come out, you're going to find out how you can help and how you can be a part of ensuring the Red Cross can get its work done. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
That's the bear of the Bahamas. I like to go down. Oh yeah.
From sinking last year to rising to the top this year, congratulations to Bach 2, the 2024 Best of the Best champ.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Who this fella is, man?
Boy, I don't even think it's boat registered. My Lord.
Bingston. Bingston.
Ernestine?
Bingston. Bingston, you daydreaming again?
Guess who I just been best of the best?
In what?
In the same boat, Buckto. I gotta go back to Madrid because I just got my award and this pretty young girl is supposed to give me some champagne.
Bingston, you gotta catch yourself.
Man, Ernestine, more to where I gotta get ready for the best of the best regatta. I'm coming to the Montague Foreshores from December 5th to December 8th. The top sailors from around the... Man, Ernestine, you wanna see me talking?
I'm talking.
With the best delicious local dishes and live performances. And guess what? I can be there shaking a leg.
Shaking what leg?
Ernestine, her shop.
Welcome back to The Rundown. We got a few minutes left, and I want to be able to get it in. We're talking with the Red Cross, so you know now how you can help. This organization is going to be there for all of us. It has been there for all of us. Will continue to be there for all of us. And to ensure that happens, we have to make sure that it's funded. And that's where you and I come into play. So, Mr. President, Director General, tell us about this week, Saturday.
So this Saturday is going to be our annual raffle. It's going to be held at the Arambili Park. The day begins at 12 noon with we're putting out some fun activities for the kids and the family to come and enjoy. So we're calling it a mini fair. Our fair is usually held in March or April each year.
Correct.
It's going to be a mini version of that. We have some vendors coming out. We've got activities for the kids and the family. And at 6 p.m., we're going to be drawing the raffle. We are pleased this year that the entire raffle book has been sponsored by IL Cares Foundation. So we're grateful to them for their partnership with us this year. And there are great prizes being offered, a brand new electric vehicle.
Lord have mercy.
There are cruises, there are hotel trips, there's cash prizes in there.
Wow.
Grocery vouchers, gas vouchers.
All the stuff that people want.
Everything that people need.
Yeah.
Right? Appliances and the rest of it. So it's going to be a great event. Like I said, it's going to be at 6 p.m. at Arambili Park. Tickets only $5, and you can hit me up, talk to the DG, go down to the Red Cross. We've got tickets that are still available, and we'll be glad to get you involved. Right? And every dollar you spend every ticket you purchase goes towards the cause of our humanitarian efforts.
It's amazing. There are several major events you do each year. Tell us those so people can understand. They ain't like every month you have people asking for money.
Right.
You have strategic events where you depend on to be able to fund your program.
Yes, I'll let DJ talk to some more of it, but we've got, this is a heavy weekend for us, though. We've got, Saturday is the raffle. On Sunday, we're having our tea party, and she can talk more to that in a moment. But the other big event that we're coming up on would be in January, which is our annual ball. That's the real big event for the Red Cross that people have become known, we've become known for, between that and, of course, the fair. And I'm hoping to see you there, Clint, with your staff. I'm putting Clint on notice now.
Put me on blast.
Putting on blast.
You tried to get me there last time, but we couldn't do it.
Last year, people, he didn't come. This year, listen, you're live on TV. Clint Watson and the Thai ZNS management team, we want 2 tables for you at least, DG. Call Clint tomorrow, please.
We can do that now. We're doing better financially.
She can make it happen, right? But no, it really is a time that we get together. We bring our corporate citizens together, and we have a wonderful night of fun, and next year's ball is going to be absolutely tremendous. You don't want to miss that. But we do have a tea party coming up on Sunday.
Right, so under the patronage of Cecilia Cooper, wife of the Deputy Prime Minister, we will be at Balmoral on Sunday at 2 p.m. Ladies, get your tickets. It's going to be a great affair. We're going to have great vendors, good food, wonderful entertainment. And the tickets are $75, and I have them right. I have your ticket for you right on my desk. Just come by during the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and collect your tickets. Ladies, you don't want to miss it. And of course, donations. Most Red Cross throughout the various countries, they really survive through membership. And we do have a set of membership, but recently our membership drive has fallen. And so if you want to donate outside of these functions, you can become a member of the Red Cross for whatever amount, $50 or more, with whatever frequency you want to give during a year. You can become a member, which is a really great opportunity to ensure that we get meals out every day, whether there's a fundraiser or not.
Excellent. And of course, you always have room for volunteers, and you make sure they're certified. You do the training yourself, I was suspect.
Absolutely. Volunteers are certified. We've got other training facilities there. For example, people who need to be certified in CPR training, first responder training. We do those training at least once a month, and more frequently if the request is made. So, for example, and again, this is not a shameless plug, I'm just saying, if there's ZNS staff needs to be trained in CPR, you bring your whole staff down to the Red Cross and we will train you.
We'll come. Right? We need to know.
But that's the way, it's not only for us, the money side of that is consequential. For us, it's more about being sure that people are well trained in the workplaces so that if you do have an emergency, there are enough people on your staff who know how to respond to that emergency. And that for us is even more important, right? And when you said that you're certified and trained by the Red Cross, there are high expectations for how you respond to issues of disasters and other emergencies.
All right, so the big day Saturday, get your ticket, make sure you're there to support and be a part of it. Thank you both for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All the best. Now I got to go find the money to pay for the table. That does it for us here, the rundown. For all of us here at ZNS News, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to stay tuned to the Bahamas tonight at 11 with Royston Jones. He'll have the latest in news and information. Royston's right over there getting ready for the 11 o'clock news. He'll have the latest. It's your last news of the day. Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.
Sexual offenses are considered the most heinous crimes after murder. On this episode of The Legal Brief, we're going to discuss rape, incest,